Okay, good morning or good afternoon. Thank you all for joining today's webinar. My name is Phil Breitenbuscher. I'm the Director of the National Family Drug Court Training and Technical Assistance Program. Today's webinar is a pre-application webinar. It will be an informational webinar for the Peer Learning Court program. We're looking to award about 6 to 8 peer learning courts or mentor courts starting in calendar year 2018. So I'm going to go through today an overview of that application process. But before I get started, I did want to acknowledge the support of the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention and our program officer, Catherine Berry, who I believe will be joining today's webinar, and I think she would like to say hello once she's able to join. For you, the audience, you can use the raise hand function. You can type a question in the question box. You could download the updated materials in the handouts folder, and you can use the chat box function, which are all located in your dashboard, which you can open up by clicking on the orange box with the white arrow, and then you'll see those folders there, and you can open those up and use those functions. We want to make sure we're responsive to your questions. If you raise your hand and you've dialed in on your phone and entered your PIN, we will be able to unmute your line so that you can ask a question. So, all right. Okay, Catherine, are you with us now?
I am.
Hey, Catherine, good. So, Catherine Berry is our OJJDP program manager, and Catherine, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. I just wanted to say on behalf of the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, I'm extending a very warm welcome to all of you. We're excited and encouraged by your participation. Our office is very pleased to be supporting this work, and I thank all of you for joining us today. Thanks, Phil.
Yeah, thanks, Catherine. Appreciate your support. Just so folks know, this is one of the key programs of the National Family Drug Court Training and Technical Assistance Program. We believe highly in peer-to-peer training and networking, and we really appreciate our existing peer learning courts. They've done some tremendous work, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. So today we've kind of gone through the introduction, and I'm going to do an overview of the Peer Learning Court program, what the benefits of being a peer learning court are, what the expectations are, and then I'm going to spend some time on minimum eligibility requirements and then what the application process will be for this round. We did schedule this webinar for an hour and a half, but the content, we probably won't need all that time, but we wanted to make sure there was plenty of time for questions. And if we aren't able to answer every question today, we will answer those questions in writing and then post them to the site following the webinar. We also are recording this webinar so that it can be played back at a later time for those that were not able to attend today's webinar. So just to give everyone an overview of who we are as Children and Family Futures, we operate 2 major centers and now 3. One is this program, the National Family Drug Court Training Technical Assistance Program, and underneath it we have several major programs where we provide technical assistance and training across the country to all family drug courts. We also operate the statewide system reform program, and this program, or this initiative, which is the Peer Learning Court program. Our other national center is the National Center on Substance Abuse and Child Welfare, and there's many initiatives under that also work with family drug courts and other communities working to tackle this issue. Starting next week, we will launch the Quality Improvement Center for Collaborative Community Courts, which is funded by Children's Bureau. And we also operate the Prevention and Family Recovery Program, which is jointly funded by the Doris Duke Charitable Foundation and the Duke Endowment. And then we also have a Research and Evaluation Division. So that's a little bit about who we are and where this program fits into our other initiatives. Our Family Drug Court Training and Technical Assistance Program has worked with over 300 family drug courts across the nation. We provide on-site and off-site expert consultation and support. We host web-based learning communities. We'll be launching our 2018 Learning Academy very soon, which will be comprised of multiple parts, both web-based and then interactive. We host a Family Drug Court blog, and we produce many resources. A new resource we're working on and hope to be able to publish next year our National Family Drug Court Best Practice Standards. So we're very excited about that project. The state system-wide reform program works with 4 states and the territory of Guam, and we're working at the state level to expand family drug courts, improve the family drug courts that are in the states, and then unbundle the things that work in a family drug court and embed those into the dependency court systems, child welfare systems, and the treatment systems. And then, of course, this program, the Mentor Court program, which we hope increases or enhances the peer-to-peer engagement and advances the knowledge of the field. We rely heavily on our peer learning courts to help us understand best practices and to help tackle some of the wicked problems that we see in family drug court work. What peer learning courts are, or what is a peer learning court? Peer learning courts are essentially our mentor family drug courts that use evidence-based practices. They demonstrate strong collaboration, and they're willing to provide training and technical assistance. They also support our National Strategic Plan, specifically goal number 1, which is to improve the effectiveness of the existing family drug court network by assuring it operates with fidelity to the family drug court model. Currently, we have 9 peer learning courts, and you can see those listed on your screen. They've responded to well over 500, but official 230 requests that have come through us. They've worked with over 44 jurisdictions that we've helped coordinate and that we've supported. Many of the peer learning courts, though, also get requests directly to them, and they don't necessarily always filter through us. So that's how we know that they've responded to over 500 requests since 2012. We've partnered with our peer learning courts to present or co-present over 20 sessions at numerous national and regional and state conferences. So we use our peer learning courts in a variety of different ways. Some of the expectations of being a peer learning court are that you'll respond to requests for training and technical assistance, participate in in-person and virtual peer learning, host site visits for teams that want to come and visit and see your program. We set expectations that you would host up to 4 family drug court teams a year, so essentially maybe 1 a quarter, but that would definitely be on the high end. Some teams host more teams than other sites based on geographics. We would like you to share your operational documents, your policy and procedure manuals, your intake forms, your client handbooks, your data snapshots, your staffing reports, those types of documents that will help courts improve their practice, their efficiencies, or start new programs. We expect that our peer learning courts maintain operation consistent with best practices. Will engage with us on continued training and technical assistance. This is certainly an evolving field, and the literature continues to grow. And as the literature grows, we want our mentor courts to be growing with that. And so we expect that they engage in regular technical assistance. All of our peer learning courts participate in monthly telephone calls and submit monthly reports. And I'll talk about what those look like in a bit later. But they essentially are just numbers on how many TA requests you've responded to, kind of who you're working with, and that we'd also like to begin seeing what your program operations look like. So maybe a monthly data update on numbers for your peer learning court. The benefits of becoming a peer learning court are, first of all, you're recognized as a national leader in the field. You have priority access to training and technical assistance through our TTA program that's supported by the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. Peer learning courts will receive 1 travel scholarship to attend a National Drug Court Conference in 2018, which this year is being planned for Houston. And NADCP is partnering with us to also waive your registration fee. So you'll get a full scholarship to the National Drug Court Conference. Your program will be highlighted on Mentor Court Row at the National Drug Court Conference. And your team will receive a travel scholarship to visit a fellow peer learning court. And we will work with each of the peer learning courts to determine which would be the most appropriate and helpful peer learning court for each of you to visit. So those are some of the benefits, and there's probably many more. So this is an overview of some of the minimum eligibility requirements. We're going to want to see that you have sound basic operations for your program. And I'm going to go through some of these more, but FDC operations, program evaluation. We want to ensure that you are that you continue to monitor your outcomes, that you're evaluating your programs, and you're using that data to improve practice, and that you have a sound governance structure to manage your program. So going through what we mean by program operations, we're requiring that your program have at least 4 years in operation, and preferably 6. We know that family drug courts get better over time, so experience is helpful. We would like to, our courts are expected to be serving the entire family, so both parents and children, through evidence-based treatment, enhanced recovery support, and parent-child services. We also are looking for innovative approaches or enhanced engagement, so how you are uniquely serving your populations in your jurisdictions. That you engage in a kind of continuous feedback loop process or quality improvement. That again, you're using data to drive change, to monitor progress on a monthly, quarterly, and annual basis. That your team engages in ongoing and regular cross-systems training. That you facilitate an annual retreat to review your policies and procedures, and you just demonstrate a commitment and desire to increase the scale of your family drug court if you already aren't at scale. Some of you are. In terms of program evaluation, we're looking for courts that have established performance measurement or data collection system to track their family function outcomes and their performance outcomes on a monthly basis and an annual basis. You have demonstrated positive outcomes for families. So if we come out to visit you, or when you submit your letter of interest, you can send to us your most recent evaluation report or monthly data snapshot that you keep, and you've had a completed program evaluation, and we'd ask that that be fairly recent. We'll outline more details in the letter of interest, and I'll talk about the process of how you might apply. So these are some of the program evaluation components we're looking for. In terms of governance structure, we know that these programs don't just happen, that it takes a team and sometimes a multi-level team to manage and sustain these programs. And so we're looking for at least a 2-tiered system, but preferably a 3-tiered system that has not only the core treatment team that serves the clients and meets on a weekly or every other week basis and staffs cases, but there's also some type of steering committee or management team meeting or policy meeting or administrative committee that looks at your policies and procedures, and that those committees are collaborative with other agencies and your core partners. And then in larger jurisdictions, we also look for some type of oversight or executive committee that meets quarterly or semi-annually to ensure sustainability. So we want to see that you have a sound collaborative governance structure in place to maintain your program. Certainly, we want to see that you have interdisciplinary case planning and care coordination, and again, that should be happening throughout the week, but certainly in your weekly case staffings, and that's a regular process that's structured, and that you have a well-established court team with these types of partners. So those are kind of the 3 major elements of the minimum requirements to become a peer learning court, and here are some of the dates. We're hoping to award the peer learning courts by March 1st of 2018. The first step in the process would be to submit a letter of interest, which is mainly a checklist with some attachments. And we will then look at the number of letters of interest that we get, and then we will select a number of sites to submit a full proposal. And then you'll have about a month to complete the proposal. And then I would like to notify sites for site visits in early December, and then we will be conducting 2-day site visits to up to 10 courts from the beginning of January to about the middle of February. So it'll be a 3-step process: letter of interest, a proposal or application, and then hosting a site visit from a team of ours. And then again, we'll try to award the new peer learning courts in March 2018. And that's essentially the information that we have for you today. We're kind of short and sweet, but we'd like to open up the line for questions. Okay, looks like Judge Rowley, you have a question, and we're going to unmute your line.
Okay, can you hear me?
Go ahead, Judge.
Hi. Yeah, I see that these are typically a 1-year award. What happens at the end of the year?
Oh, thank you for that. Yep. So this will run through, this class of peer learning courts will go through the calendar year 2019. So it'll be March 2018 through calendar year 2019.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Looks like, see here. Can we unmute Karma? Okay. Karma, do you have a question?
Yes, my question is, if we're not ready at this point to move forward, we still need to work on a few things. Do you anticipate a time in the future that we might be able to seek out becoming a peer learning court once we're more ready for it?
That's a great question. Thank you for that. At this point, we will kind of award this class, and that will start again in March 2018 and run through December 2019. And then at that point, contingent on funding and those sorts of things, we would most likely relook at our peer learning court program. From time to time, there's a court that, for whatever reason, cannot continue as a peer learning court, and so sometimes we will go back and do a more streamlined application process to fill in for a court that's no longer able to continue. But we'd be happy to work with you on getting ready to become a peer learning court. So thank you for that question.
Okay, thank you.
It looks like Andrea has a question. Can we unmute her?
I'm just wondering if the review of the policies and procedures can be done in a meeting as opposed to a retreat type event.
Sure, of course. Yeah, we use that kind of a generic term. So we do just want to see that you have a process, that you are looking at your policy and procedures, your client handbooks and your forms on at least an annual basis to make sure they're consistent with language and best practices and those types of things. So if you have some type of regular meeting you set up to do that, that would definitely be fine. Good question. All right, let's go down. Looks like Jane Pfeiffer. Jane, you may have a question, but it's not. You're not dialed in. So I'm going to go to Jill. Jill Murphy. Let's unmute her. You're unmuted, Jill.
All right. Yep, I hear. Thanks. I was just wondering, is there going to be some, like an email or something sent out telling us, kind of describing the type of information you're looking for in the letter of interest?
Yes, thanks. Good question. And so it's going to, yeah. So Jill, we have a letter of interest template. Like I said, it's mainly a checklist, and it asks for some attachments. So we will send that out along with the materials from today's webinar in the next couple days.
Okay,
and Jill,
great.
While you're on, and since I have you unmuted,
yes.
Jill is one of our peer learning courts from Seattle, King County, Washington. Are there other benefits to being a peer learning court that you would like to let folks know?
Yeah, I think, so we currently are in the second year of a 3-year SAMHSA grant, and I think the fact that we were a peer learning court played a large part in helping us obtain that grant, for sure. And I think it has helped kind of get local partner support in terms of people feeling confident that we have a method to what we're doing, that we're not just, you know, picking things out of the sky and deciding to do them. So yeah, I think there's been kind of those intangible benefits that have come to play. And plus, it's just great. I've learned a lot just from talking to other courts that have reached out to us. You know, we get to learn a little bit more about what they're doing and kind of use some of their ideas too.
Thanks, Jill. All right, I'm going to jump down to Maureen. Maureen, you have a question? Looks like you though might be on your computer. There we go.
Oh, hi. Hi, Phil.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, great. I just wanted to know if we're already a peer learning court right now, are we able to reapply to become a peer learning court again?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for the question. Absolutely, we would encourage our existing peer learning courts to apply, but we are opening it up for others as well. So thanks for the question, and we're glad you're here.
All right, I'm glad to be here too. Thanks.
Hey Maureen, before you jump off, did you want to say anything about Maureen's from Pima, Arizona, or Tucson, and they've been our peer learning court with us since 2012. Do you have anything you'd like to add about your experiences at PLC?
Actually, we really enjoy being a peer learning court. It's really interesting to collaborate with other family drug courts and see what they're doing, and giving them information on what we're doing, and it just kind of betters all of the family drug courts just to be working together, you know. So we just really love the collaboration, and the information that we get is just very crucial to our program as well.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Mo. Appreciate it. We really enjoyed working with you as well. All right, let's go to Kyla. Kyla Woods, you're unmuted.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi. So we are currently a mentor site in our state, but we don't meet the 4-year minimum requirement. Is that flexible at all?
We kind of set the standards for 4 years for this round. Again, though, we'd like to work with you and hear what you're doing in your state, and certainly we could help connect you to other courts in your state, and it may be that you become kind of an informal peer learning court for now, but we did set a minimum threshold of 4 years. How close are you to 4 years?
Well, we just started last year.
Okay, yeah. So we'd love to work with you, though.
It's 1 full year now.
Okay, good. Well, we're glad you're doing the work, and we'd love to work with you as you continue to develop, and we're glad that you're helping others grow programs in your state.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question, and thanks for being here. Let's see. Do we have any other questions? All right. I'm going to say, is it Miss Oliver? I'm having trouble with your first name. Is it Olivo? Oh, I'm sorry, Olivo.
The question is, I've never heard of peer learning courts until today. My supervisor suggested this webinar. What types of things or resources do peer learning courts provide?
Okay, great question. So the types of resources that peer learning courts provide to other sites are sometimes it's getting on a phone call with another peer. So sometimes coordinators would like to talk to other coordinators, judges to other judges, attorneys with other attorneys, etc. Sometimes it's phone calls. Sometimes it's sharing your materials, such as policy and procedures, referral forms, client reports, data reports, those types of things that you've developed, maybe a pamphlet or a marketing materials. They also assist us on presentations, both webinars and conferences, and peer learning courts assist us in answering questions from other courts. So oftentimes we'll send out an email and kind of survey our peer learning courts to see how you handle a certain practice, and then so that we can respond to questions that we receive. So thank you for your question. Do you have another written question, Jonathan?
One more. Are SSRP courts eligible to become a peer support court?
Yeah, so the state reform program, so in each of the states that we're working with have pilot sites or local sites, and certainly those would be great applicants if they meet the requirements. So really anyone is eligible that meets those requirements, regardless if you're receiving any type of grant or have received a grant in the past or have been a peer learning court in the past or have applied for one and didn't receive it. As long as you meet those requirements, you are eligible to apply or to submit a letter of interest.
We just had one more come in. If you're chosen to become a peer learning court, what is the time frame for the certification period?
So we don't necessarily certify our peer learning courts. We award them with that title. And again, we will award the 6 to 8 new peer learning courts by March 1st of 2018. Hopefully that answers that question. Okay, great. It looks like we've answered all the questions.
There's one more, actually.
Okay, go ahead, Jonathan.
Does the evaluation have to be third party?
Not necessarily. I mean, we prefer that you had a formal evaluation done, but sometimes you're able to do that internally, and that would suffice as long as it's a thorough evaluation of your program. Great. So you may have more questions after today's call, and we would welcome those questions. And you can submit those questions in writing to fdc@cffutures.org. If you registered for today's webinar, you will receive the link to this presentation and a letter of interest in a couple of days. And you can respond back to that email with additional questions if you have them. Okay, and I don't see any new questions, right, Jonathan? No new questions have come in. So again, we thank you for your participation, and we hope you'll consider becoming a peer learning court. Thank you very much for your time. If you feel like you're not yet eligible to become a peer learning court, we do want you to know that training and technical assistance is available to you. And we also would welcome you to reach out to us and let us know how we can help you think about becoming a peer learning court in the future or just improving your program. Also wanted everyone to be aware, if you haven't already downloaded a copy of our National Strategic Plan, please do so. You can do it at our website. It's listed on your screen. We have limited copies. We could also probably mail you a hard copy if you're interested in that. And I talked about this earlier. We do have a online learning academy currently with over 40 webinars in 5 communities and team discussion guides that accompany many of those webinars. We'll be launching 4 new classrooms in 2018, and we hope you'll attend those. And lastly, we have our Family Drug Court blog that you can go and research FDC materials and other types of resources there. And I should say, not lastly, because this is newer for us, we just launched our Family Drug Court online tutorial. It's the self-paced tutorial that goes over 5 modules. And at the end, if you complete every module, you'll get a certificate of completion. So this is great for new team members. And of course, the Family Drug Court guidelines, you can download a copy of this on our website as well. So here's our contact information. Please reach out if you have any questions. Again, easiest to send emails to fdc@cffutures.org, or you can email Kelly or myself directly too, whichever works best for you. Okay, again, thanks for your participation today, and we look forward to working with you.